I do have a few headlines to go through, and then the topic of this show is energy efficiency. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start with the headlines. The first one is plans are in the works for a future development. Groups work together to come up with short and long term plans for Greater Des Moines. This is November 8th, 2010 Business Record. And that was about work among several organizations in the Des Moines area, the Greater Des Moines Partnership, Community Foundation of Greater Des Moines Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO as it's more commonly known. MPO recently received a $2.2 million grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, according to the Register, and that was to implement a 40-year sustainable plan. Their steering committee's work is facilitated by an economic development consulting firm from Atlanta. And what their plan is to gather 30 focus groups and do 50 interviews and also an online survey. They want to focus their goals on housing, transportation, land use, economic development, environment, and accessibility. Along those lines, I actually did attend the Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizen Transportation Conference last Tuesday, November 9th. I attended the noon meeting at the Central Public Library downtown. And they had two meetings. One was the noon meeting and then the 6 p.m. meeting. And that's the one I attended. There were about 10 people. I didn't attend the evening meeting, so if someone did, please feel free to send a chat if you attended and you found some information that I didn't gather from the meeting I attended. What my overall perception was, in a nutshell, was that the group had a lot of money that they received from the federal government. They weren't entirely sure of what to do with it, or they didn't want to make plans for it without receiving input and commentary and suggestions and feedback from the general public, which I thought was a great idea. Often when you open up the floor to a lot of ideas, you get something really great as a result. They did have a PowerPoint presentation where they actually listed their notes, and I'll put it on the board there. This is what they passed out to us at the meeting, and these notes are actually going to be on their website. Actually, they're on the website now, and it's www.dmampo.org. And I did want to go ahead and read through a couple of the slides. Their planning activities are to identify short and long range transportation planning needs, analyze and evaluate transportation improvements, estimate future traffic volumes, and then inform the public about planning activities and do some studies. They're funded by the Federal Highway Administration, Federal Transit Administration, Iowa Department of Transportation, and assessments from MPO member governments. And so their activities include road and bridge design, construction and repair, enforcement of traffic laws, and trail construction and maintenance. Or actually, those are the government and state agencies involved with planning. Des Moines Area Regional Transit Authority and the Heart of Iowa Regional Transit Agency, and then land use planning and zoning, all of which are really important to sustainability. We had our public transportation episode here, which I think was episode 4, where someone from DART came and talked about sustainability here in the Des Moines area. They also have a Purple Heart Collaborative they're working on, and that's an effort between Altoona, Carlisle, Des Moines, Norwalk, Pleasant Hill, West Des Moines, Polk County, and Warren County. And what their focus is, it's on promoting the U.S. Highway 65 and Iowa Highway 5 corridor. And so they're seeking interstate designation for that corridor for Highway 5 and 65 specifically to attract businesses to that area so they can build it up and then attract businesses to that area. That was actually a point of contention during the meeting that I attended. Someone in the audience, one of the citizens that decided to participate, became very exercised at the thought of building up that corridor because it was a way of planning business development, economic development in an area away from the city center, which would affect traffic and then convenience. And then I thought it was personally, I thought it would contribute to sprawl, which is something that most organizations involved with sustainability try to avoid. I guess it's all in how you look at it. But it does seem like that was one of the points that the MPO wanted to stress was diverting federal dollars away from the city center out to the surrounding suburbs. They are soliciting feedback and from a business angle that might be beneficial. I'm not sure. But we do have empty buildings in the downtown area that would also benefit from federal dollars, I believe. Anyway, you can contact the MPO with your opinion at dmampo@dmampo.org. You can call 515-334-0075. You can go to the website that I read out earlier to get your own version of the notes. The person who seemed to be taking the point position on the projects is Bethany Wilcoxon. She's the Associate Transportation Planner. So that was all very interesting, just to see how urban planning in the Des Moines area is done, how money is allocated, how the studies are conducted, and then how citizens respond. But that was at the noon meeting. I would be very interested if anyone had any feedback on how the 6 o'clock meeting that was at the Mercy Medical Center went too. Along those lines, I did take a look at the site of the Future Transit Hub. We mentioned earlier in the, I think it was a number 4 episode, the public transportation episode, that they're going to be locating the future hub where all the buses meet and everyone gets on the bus or disembarks from the bus from Walnut, about 2.5 blocks to Cherry Street. And so it's not really far, but it will move the transit hub away from the retail section of downtown, which I think is a good thing. It's surrounded by parking, so people can park and ride if they need to. I looked at the building, and I'm not really sure if it's going to involve retrofit or new construction. That's something I need to find out and follow up on, but I'm curious about that. It looks like the building that's there would lend itself towards becoming a hub, but if they do decide to rebuild anew, I think that's still a good location for it. The Des Moines Sunday Register is going to explore concepts of public transportation, infrastructure, environmentally, and people-friendly spaces in the Des Moines area, and that includes all aspects of moving people around, the infrastructure and construction issues, and then also price and the economics that goes along with that. And I hope in the Register's article that they do consider the concept of sprawl as it applies to Des Moines, and then roads versus rail, which has become a pretty interesting debate lately. And then also the issues of cars and bikes on the same road. People are not used to bicyclists in the Des Moines area. It's something that people, drivers as well as bikers and pedestrians, have to get used to if they continue to move towards a more bike-friendly kind of planning for Des Moines.